Uh, this is Dilip Ganesan. This is my final project presentation for the class Data 608 Knowledge and Visual Analytics. To start with, I would like to go through this presentation and then I would like to do a small application demo of the application that I have developed. First, I would like to brush upon the project proposal. As discussed or as already published in the project proposal, uh, one of the things that I was recently pretty upset about or impacted of the latest happening that's happening in our country. One is the gun violence and mass shooting that is happening across various cities in the United States. Uh, this was particularly more saddening thing because currently this shooting has moved from the streets to the schools. There have been rampant shootings in schools where kids in places like Sandy Hook they got killed or massacred, and there are shooting that's taking place in high schools among teens. So this was this is something that was pretty intriguing, and at the same time, it was something that as a society I thought that we should reflect upon. So with that topic in mind, I thought for this particular project, we will try to see or we will try to visualize and paint a picture of how currently these violences are happening or where exactly it is happening, which all places it's happening. So with that in mind, I took this project of gun violence. Next, moving to the data source. For the data source, when I googled, I figured out this website called gunviolencearchive.org. It has different data ranging from 2018 to all the way to 2010. So you have historical data of how gun violences are happening across different places in the cities. It gives a detailed information like as part of the gun violence, like how many people got killed, how many are injured, and where exactly these or which are the cities which are vulnerable for gun violence. So the data source was identified, and then next, moving to the project proposal, I decided to present the visualization of shooting that is happening in different cities in the United States in the last 3 years, and also, as I said, I would like to see or I would like to visualize and picture how this gun violence is affecting our kids and teens. The next decision that we wanted to make was like what's the project application, how it is going to look like. There was to start with there was a little bit of confusion whether to go for a dash application or shiny application, but after uh, pretty I just wanted to play it safe, so I moved with the shiny application. I was having some obstacles when I tried with the dash, so I just wanted to make sure to play it safe and then reverted back to shiny application. Next, identification of data source. I have provided the data like the source code structure, and some of the data that we took from the website are the 20 by 18 gun violence data set, and then there was another data set from 2014 to 2017. This is like a historical data of for the last 3 years, how where all the gun violence has happened. And then the next data set that was I was very much interested in was the kids and teen violence gun data set. So these are the different data sets that was quite interesting. So I picked those data sets. Currently, you can see the folder structure of how these data sets are from how these CSV files are placed in a folder location. The next thing is like once the data is identified, like while going through the data, I found certain anomalies. Rather than saying it as anomalies, I would like to say like the data was not in the required format. For example, in all the data sets, the latitudes and longitudes were missing. After some kind of Googling, I figured it out. There was some kind of an API to go and figure the geocode, like to figure out by just giving the address. It was I was able to get the geocode which means the latitude and the longitude, as well as like the state address. Uh, as registered by Google. So this was pretty helpful for me to identify the latitude and longitude by just giving the address. So I just wrote a small R script for that and then used it to cleanse the data. And then the next thing that needs some data, kind of a data cleansing, was the state converters. The state codes were not in standardized format. In few data set it was saying Alaska, few data set it said just AK, so there was no uniformity among data sets. So I just wanted to make sure that throughout the application that the data should be standardized such that I'm able to present it in a more cleaner fashion. So these were some kind of a data munging activity that I have to do to make sure the data is cleansed and the reference data sets is uniform across all the applications. The next thing was, like as I said, the application development. So I went ahead with the Shiny app, which I will be presenting you a demo. And then I went with Plotly.js. This was pretty helpful, and this was something like very helpful for me to project the data and visualize the data. The other thing that I used was the Choropleth. Plotly had two flavors. One is like the scatter plot, or just pointing the cities, and the other one is the Choropleth, where based on the killings that is happening, it gave a state level impact. One I wanted to show both the state level impacts as well as the cities or the exact pinpoint areas where the violence is happening. So with that in mind, I chose both Plotly.js as well as Plotly Choropleth. With that said, before going to the like further screens, I just wanted to give a quick demo of how the application will look like. For that, I'm going to go to the R code and then I'm going to run the app so you can see how the gun violence app looks like. So this is the first. So I went with the tabbed approach, the Shiny tab approach, the nav bar page approach for this. You can see for this 2018 data set, this is like the current year's gun violence that has happened. For this particular visualization, I went with the Choropleth method of visualization, and you can see like how it is being impacted, where all or which all the cities that are which are all the states that are getting impacted because of the gun violence. So this Choropleth was able to provide us a neater visualization of state level impacts. From this we can see that Texas had a little higher casualties. When we say 30 casualties, it includes both injury as well as those people who got killed. So that's the summation that we are trying to visualize here. For example, the California had the next one, and the highest casualties that has happened is in Illinois, in the state of Illinois. Just as our Republican friends say, this state needs some introspection need to be really done in terms of how to handle the gun violence. And then slowly moving towards the rest of the states, like the large populous states are the ones that are getting impacted because of gun violence. So this is something like an lack of a good word. If you see, even a state with a higher gun restriction, it is having higher casualties, and the state which are very lenient on gun control, like Texas, even they have larger or the next highest casualties. Even the same with Florida. So this is something that our legislatures or the congressmen, they have to really look through. So I see it as there is no perfect solution for this. Even with stricter gun control, there is casualties. And similarly with even easier regulation, there is casualty. So there is something here that we as citizen as well as the Congress or the elected representative has to look into. So this is the first visualization that I have come up with. Moving on, so this was the choropleth mode of visualization. The next one I went at with the plot geo, or the more like an scatter plot mode. Yeah, it's not exactly the it is more like plotting the cities which has the maximum number of gun violence. For this, I have given the breakup of like how many got killed, how many got injured, and this data is like starting from 2014 to 2017. And one of the interesting city that I was pretty like that I got little surprise was the city of Vegas. So it looks like that's where the maximum impact has happened. Uh, so this is with respect to data showing for the last 3 years. So that's why this numbers are the numbers are pretty high. Moving on, as I said in the description, next thing that I would like to see is like where the teen violence is happening. Uh, the places that I could see are like uh, Florida or uh, or where where there is a spike in violence that is happening. So this is something we have to really think about, and we have to see like what best can be done to make sure that kids make sure that the guns don't hand in the kids' hands or in the teens' hands. And the last visualization is that of kids like age less than 10. This is something really saddening, and according to me, this map should look clean. Not even a single dot in any of the estate should be visible for this particular map. But it is really sad that we are looking into this kind of a map where kids are being affected by gun violence. So this is how I have laid out the different tabs and different visualization for my final project. And the last tab is about the final project. Still, I'm writing to have. I'm working on having a write up. So this is pretty much how I have laid out the application, and I have also even given the screenshots of each and every different modes that I just now represented in the demo. So I take this as an opportunity to thank Professor Charlie for helping us uh, and encouraging us to come up with this project. I would like to convey my sincere thanks to Professor Charlie, because this was really helpful. It was a hands-on experience. Not only the final project, but even the individual projects. Make sure that it was first for few times it was really challenging, because exposure to Shiny, exposure to Dash, this exposure to even D3.js, everything was first time for me, and it was really challenging. But I really relished learning and gaining some knowledge through this course. I find it very helpful. So I like to thank the professor for that. And with that, I would like to conclude my presentation. Looking for your feedbacks, and thanks again. Have a nice day.